All right, everybody, welcome back to Armies on Parade. I'm your host, John. Joining me today, as always, is Matt
What up?
and Marcus.
Ew.
And today we are doing a bit of a different video, doing units we want to see. Specifically, we're talking about the Imperium of Man. To jump right into it here, the ground rules are that we're going to go faction by faction through the Imperium. We're going to pick 3 units per faction that we want to see added to the game. So that's models, we might talk data sheets, and we want only 1 unit to be a refresh. So if there's currently a data sheet or currently a model, then only one of the 3 that we pick per faction can be a refresh, can be an existing model or existing data sheet. Additionally, cannot be a unit that has already been spoiled. So whenever we talk about Knights, they just recently had a spoiler come out for I can't remember what the new Knight's called, the one with the shield on top. So we can't pick that one, which we didn't, but we couldn't. We're also going to attempt to be realistic in this. So we're trying to predict models or maybe inspire models and kind of anticipate things that GW may actually release versus stuff that's sort of from left field that is pretty unrealistic. And finally, we're going to include a lore-friendly unit name. So this is just, again, we want to keep stuff relatively consistent with the current faction's identity. You know, we don't want to give Adeptus Sororitist, an orc vehicle and call it like, the Confabulator or something like that.
Oh, we do, actually.
Yeah, no, actually, that sounds pretty good.
Okay.
Fun list.
No, we're definitely not going to do that.
And we will be doing this for a bunch of other factions too. What would be some cool stuff if we could design our own model? Not like this would necessarily happen, but I think it's cool to sometimes just think about what could be.
Yeah, and if you're watching this GW, feel free to steal all of our ideas. They're all great ideas.
Yeah, steal good ideas. Do it.
Well, I mean, some of these in this we're going to go through are just copied and pasted from media that we find cool. I don't think I actually ended up putting it in here, but I just watched the second Dune movie, and the freaking Sardaukar are really cool. If GW just gave us an Imperial Guard unit that was like Sardaukar, I'd be like, yeah, thumbs up. Anyway.
Or an entire faction that was just Jason Momoa shirtless.
Bunch of tall, sexy Aquamans.
Yeah, let's keep rolling here. So this first faction we're going to cover is the Astra Militarum, and this first model was Matt's idea, and it's Kaiaphas Kane.
This is a sweet baby boy.
Much as I love Font, Kaiaphas Kane's my favorite.
Hero of the Imperium. We've got a bunch of sweet characters from books and stuff. One of my old favorites is always Yarick, and I'm pretty sure he's dead, right? Like never coming back dead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they soft confirm it.
Yeah, I think it was in someone's wearing his hat or something, or his eyepiece, or like Angron, or someone has his...
I think it's Angron. It's some demon.
Yeah. So, anyway.
But yeah, I think Kane would be a really sweet. He's a popular character, and like I said, he'd be a commissar character, which there aren't actually that many models of. And it's Kaiaphas Kane. He's awesome.
This lore-wise, he's, I would say, very lighthearted, but I think he does pretty good. The books do a great job of really putting stuff into focus. I think Gaunt has a big issue of, they really kill a lot of Marines. Like Space Marines. I think they also Space Marines look like chump, but they do a great job of making how Tyranids are terrifying and how orcs are terrifying. They do a good job of making the guard look competent and then at the same time look horribly incompetent.
Right. Yeah, and so they had an existing model already for Kaiaphas Kane too, so there's kind of this isn't a refresh. He doesn't have his own datasheet right now. But they do have this to draw inspiration from. So if they were to do this with their ability to do updated faces, they could easily recreate this these days, only on this scenic base, crushing a Tyranid or doing whatever. But I was reading through his Wikipedia article, though, and apparently he's also dead, but not really.
I think they did a in the future thing. He made it to the 31st millennium, or maybe the 42nd. He made it far in the future. If he did die, it was of age.
Gotcha.
The closest thing you get to a happy ending.
Dying of old age. Commissar in the Guard, that's probably a really rare accomplishment. So anyway, he's number 1. Number 2 here is the Imperial Thunderbolt. This is an old Forge World model. You might still be able to buy it.
Smash.
Almost World War II Askians look. I think we saw these in one of the Imperial episodes where they defend the orcs. Yeah, they're a great plane, and they kind of look like they'd fly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of planes in 40k don't have that going for them. This looks like an actual fighter. You're right, it's inspired a lot from Mustangs or Spitfires or whatever from World War II, but if they're going to draw inspiration from historical sources, then that's a great era to draw from because of how iconic those planes look. And I think the original model was in resin, so it'd be cool if this got a a refresh in plastic. I know they just did, for Horus Heresy, they just did the Arvis Lighter, which I think was another really cool plane.
We want the stuff not in resin. Like you can get almost a lot of these models you can get in resin. There's a lot of bullcrap that comes with owning stuff in resin. It's fragile. You have to wash it. It sucks to build unless it's big and chunky. Anything in plastic is just strictly better. Even if versus 3D printed, it's just less fragile. It typically looks better. We'll pay the money. It's better. It's a better product.
Right. Yeah, and that's one of the biggest advantages GW has over a lot of their competitors is they have really highly detailed plastic kits that, yes, you pay a lot more for them, but we talk about it all the time, Marcus, when we walk through hobby shops. You walk past these Star Wars minis, you walk past these minis from these other games, and they don't look as good, period. If you want high quality, good looking models, it's GW. And, that's a shame. I wish there were more games out there that could compete, and the games themselves might be able to compete.
There might be some that have an individually really sweet model. Halo Flashpoint has pretty cool Spartans, but that's 4 or 5. When it comes to an entire line, I don't really think much competes.
And the big thing GW does is they are the undisputed champions of faces of that scale. Up until recently, in the 2000s, there was no such thing as a good mini face. They were all pretty awful.
Yeah.
And at GW, I don't know how they did it. Just the technology must have got good, but they were able to do resin with good faces. They can now do plastic, and they still kind of have some bad sculpts occasionally, a little goofy, but more and more, most of the faces in a kit are really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be computer modeling, and then they pay their artists to sculpt. Like, I assume that they just have extremely good artists that they kind of lean on. I imagine that there's probably a good number of artists that they have contractually, or maybe not even contractually, but they bring on for piece by piece. Hopefully they pay them well, because I think whenever you talk about the difference between GW's ability to computer model and put out quality miniatures, I think it's manufacturing, and I think it's the fact that they have good artists. All right, let's keep moving here. This next one is another kit that was Forge World adjacent. For the Astra Militarum especially, we kind of leaned into the old Forge World kits that have gone the way of the dodo, just because they had some really awesome kits in that. But this one is the Tauros Venator ATV.
So first up, just bring back the entire Elysian drop troops. Everything about the Elysians was awesome.
It's not the first casualty of the Forge World purging, but Krieg got killed and they're back. Not fully yet, but pretty much. So I don't see a reason why they wouldn't bring back Elysians. This model is just so sick.
Yeah, and the current Elysians, they've had the Tempestus Aquilons come as very new models, and then the other ones, the Scions, they're not that old. They're 8th edition.
The Double Dream, the Valkyrie that can carry them, there's a name for that Valkyrie there, and I forget what it is, but the Valkyrie that carries them, make that a model too.
Sky Talon.
Yeah, combo them together. You could have a Sky Talon, deep strike with a Venator, and then drop it off on the battlefield.
That would be sick.
Yeah, you could deep strike the Venator, but have them both come in, have it attached, play with your toys. That would be so sweet.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's the kind of thing that I just feel like for Votan, Leagues of Votan, when Votan first came out, people were like, give the Votan a land train. And GW was like, no. That's not possible. This is no longer what GW is trying to do, right?
Star Maven still exists. It can drop off a Dreadnought.
Can it?
Yeah, these were models in 7th edition. I remember when we got Matt back into it, it was like, well, yeah, give me 3 of those that carry Venators into combat. They're dirt cheap because they could carry troops. So they didn't have missiles or anything, but it was super cool.
So I am convinced that it's more realistic now. GW, bring us back the Sky Talon. Bring us the Venators. So one of the things that Guard is kind of missing, a light vehicle, a Warthog from Halo, or a Humvee in modern parlance for the Marine Corps. And this might not be it. Maybe they even notch this last wheel off and come out with the Tauros Venator LTV or something. The gun up further like this and make it literally just a Warthog clone. But that would be really cool.
I mean, I'd be down.
Yeah.
As much as transfers are cool, it kind of sucks when they do everything.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have, and the scouts do the job kind of well, but they don't really do damage. Just something that can be independent, maybe kill a tank, do some damage, and dies easily. Just a good actual scrimmage unit for Guard.
Yeah, and you could even have a variant of this without the gun, where this is just a troop compartment. It just carries 5 infantry. Scions be taking as 5, maybe?
Yeah.
Well then, hell yeah. Put some Scions in the back of this bad boy and rock out with your cock out. Pop some Scions onto a point, pop this bad boy out of a Sky Talon, and you're making dreams come true.
I would like to see a ground variant of a Scion unit. I guess that's what Khazarkan are, but if we somehow see the Allegiance come back, this better be in that lineup.
Or else.
All right, let's keep moving here. This next faction here is the Adeptus Sororitist. We're going to lead off with another one of Matt's ideas here. This is the Throne Avenger Strike Fighter. Image on the left here, this is AI generated, so this would be like a different variant. This is an existing model. It's called the Avenger Strike Fighter. And in the actual GW webpage for this, it said that the sisters, they often favor this fighter. A different variant of this fighter that's more sisters adjacent, I think would be a really cool idea.
Yeah. 7th edition, they could be taken as sisters. Not even that far past. I remember having a conversation with sister players. Yeah, why can't I take my fighters anymore? It'd make a lot of sense. I get it. Again, planes are getting kind of sent out. But if they can make planes balanced and cool, which maybe one day.
Every single plane is cool.
Just balance. They're all cool. Save Space Marine planes, pretty much every plane in 40k is a banger. These are no exception.
I'm going to be biased here because I like sisters and I like planes. If you gave sisters a suite, make the canopy stained glass, you can still give it that church aesthetic to it, but...
Oh, that's an awesome idea. This is like from Dolly. This is AI generated. And I typed in a Sisters Avenger Strike Fighter. This is pretty sick.
It's really sick,
It's a little stubby. The front is solid. Gotta extend that back. As much as this thing has a stubby front, it doesn't do the Space Marine thing where it's just like, why is it so short?
Yeah, and you could extend these wings out and it would look fine.
It just, again, to extend the tail too.
Yeah, we're pretty plane heavy in the beginning here, but I think we're going to get a little bit more mellow on the planes.
Yeah, so I'm going to bounce now. You guys can finish this out.
Yeah, okay. This next one is the Sisters Immilitari. So I kind of got this idea from this preacher model.
Thematically, it would make perfect sense. I think it's fallen off some now, but I remember when sisters were like the flame army. So if you gave them a flame chainsaw, that'd be pretty sweet.
They kind of did that unit recently. It's kind of a flamethrower unit, but it's a weird unit. It's very much a kill team. I would like to see just a more dedicated sister unit, the kind of vanguardy, maybe scouty.
Flamethrower and then charge stuff, that'd be sweet.
That'd be cool.
I'm picturing Retributors. You know how Retributors have meltas? Can they take flamers?
I think any flamers, you just never do. But with the chainsaw, like the actual Vindicators, this is like what the priests have as a weapon, like a flamethrower heavy weapon. A whole squad with this weapon.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
The crying mask on the left, that's a super sweet idea for sisters I've never seen before.
Yeah, I plugged this into AI and specified this because my headcanon, this is the unit they deploy to purge formerly pious renegades. If you have, I'm picturing it like witch burning, where they have like a pyre set up and there's a priest of the Adeptus Ministarum or whatever the priesthood is, and they just immolate him, And so they're sad that they're doing it. He was a previously pious guy, but I'm going way too into it. I also just like the idea of like a crying mask aesthetic too, and I think it would be really easy to paint in a cool way too. All right, this next one is one that if they don't do it, I'm going to be very disappointed for a long time until they do it.
Very.
It's the Basilica battle tank.
We've had this idea for a long time.
So you talked about the stained glass. I think the stained glass would be a great thing to do. And just do like the Gothic cathedral rising straight up out of the hall. Mounted guns. You could have sisters on top wielding like long flamers or something like that, from battle positions.
The bell tower up there.
A bell tower, yeah, chiming out the gospel. Or you could have a priest up here canting, to generate miracles. They did the Castigator, and I think the Castigator is just okay. Predator variant. You could have this and say this is their super heavy deployment.
And then also give it wings so it can be a plane.
Yeah. So I don't know. Dolly did kind of a weird job on these too. Some of this is a little odd.
I like the one on the right.
I would like to see the ramparts. That doesn't need to be a transport, but it could be a transport.
Have chapel doors in the front. The nuns kick open and storm out of.
The gates of hell from the Vatican. Super ornate wrought iron doors.
So a Notre Dame Basilica battle tank. Do it, GW. Don't be cowards.
We got a new pope. Give him a tank.
Yep. All right, moving on to Marcus's favorite faction here. This is the Imperial Knights, and the first unit we're going to look at is one that you've expressed to me you want to see, and that's the Man-at-Arms.
Well, I remember when I was first reading the Codex, you just see these cool Man-at-Arm Banner Lords guys. The closest thing would be Sister Sacristans. These, as a unit to replace potentially Armagers as a battle line, could really help lessen the toxicity people that play against Knights feel. I could see it being really cool. I would prefer them being, I guess, maybe more 30k-ish, more elite. Not AdMech. I don't want true trash. I don't want hordes of these guys. That's not the point. I just want them. I think they're cool.
These are sweet models.
Yeah, these guys did a really good job. This is I just Googled Men-at-Arms Imperial Knights, and a couple people have done schemes and stuff with these. Kit bashes. It seems that a lot of the Imperial Knight players are kind of split on this whole thing as a concept, because play Imperial Knights to play giant stompy robots, and if you add these to the faction, then you kind of become like a variant of Adeptus Mechanicus.
Do what they did in 9th edition, just to have the stuff need to be by each other. That's how you make Knights more interesting and not just skew no matter what, because vehicles, but that's how you see a balance of units. If those units get something from the other units being on the board, there's no reason these guys wouldn't have a bondsman. It needs to just be with Armagers to order around, or big guy can still order around. More interesting stuff.
In the lore, what are these guys?
I think they're just like, all right, take up your arms or going questing. Typically, only royalty and proper chosen people are put in the knights. Essentially brainwashed by the machines themselves that make them knightly. These are just kind of a sub above peasants.
So they're like auxiliary foot soldiers for Imperial Knights. And this could be a pretty easy kill team, too.
Yeah, it could be sick. Just don't do basic weapons. I don't want multi-lasers. I want like cool Laslocks, laser muskets.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Give me gun shields.
The arquebus or like the old fire stick.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I'll take cavalry as well.
You have cavalry, Marcus. That's what knights are. They're giant walking mech cavalry.
No, put the knights on the horses.
Put a knight on a knight horse. Yeah, that'd be really dumb.
Yeah, perfect.
Another one that you have oft complained to me about. This one is the melee Armager. This was another dolly image. I think if they were to do this, this would just be a blade attached to his arm. And this shield would be more sci-fi, less kite shield.
The sword be integrated like the chain sword would be sweet, but I think having it have a big kite shield is awesome.
Keep the sword in the hand, but we have a flail hand. And give it an option. Chaos Knights has one of the best kits that exists for War Dog. Like, there's no reason they can't have 4 variants come out of this.
Yeah, and so this is the Armager Hoplights and the Armager Praetors. I'm counting this as 1 for the Imperial Knights. So this is 1 of 3. These are the Armager Hoplights. So this is kind of what you were talking about.
Yeah, a spear.
Yeah, having a lance, having a flail, and having a sword would be pretty awesome.
I want Imperial Knights to be able to do more melee. Armagers are really bad in melee. They're good at bullying stuff, but they do not take the fight to dedicated melee troops.
I think it's intentional. I think they want Chaos Knights to be the melee knights, and they want Imperial Knights to be the shooty knights. They could still have melee Armagers for knights, for both knight factions, and shooty knights for both knight factions. And then within those individual options, they could do variations. So maybe Imperial Knights have a Lancer, and Chaos Knights have, instead of like the shooty Helverins, they have like Flamer Helverins.
You can have armies that are pretty identical play completely differently.
This final one, this is an old Forge World Knight that I think is size-wise, I don't know how this compares to a regular Knight, but I'm picturing a regular Knight being right here, maybe.
Yeah, it's a little taller. I think they're typically on a base, and their base is ginormously sized. They're less tall than you think. They're definitely wide, though. They're not packing much cake, but man, they got it up front. This robot has huge...
I like the side armoring on the guns, too.
It's a very unique model. It's almost unplayable due to its size, but it is an incredibly cool model.
Anything else you'd want to see from Imperial Knight?
I'd like to see something between an Armager and a Questoris Knight. Something that's in that 200-point range. Give us more build options. There's a lot of issue with Knights of you don't really have good ways to spend 90 points.
Yeah.
But I'd like to be able to spend 90 points and make an Armager something better.
One thing that I want to add, because it would be super sweet, but never happened, is put some new Gundam funnels on this bad boy. Imagine if you had remote funnel weapons and then you put them down on the board as little remote control, like make a carrier knight and it shoots out a bunch of little fighter drones.
That'd be insanely cool. Yeah.
Think how sweet that would be.
That sounds like more of a Tau thing, though.
Almost certainly, but Tower's stupid, so put it on that.
But Tau aren't psychics. Like, that's the whole thing. Bits are psychically controlled little things. Like a Psyker Knight that could be cool. That might be more of a chaosy thing. But that could be really cool.
That would make me switch to Chaos Knights.
Chaos Knights has a...
Yeah, the big guy, the Mr. Tentacles.
Yeah.
He just needs to shoot crows.
Robot crows. All right. This next one are the Imperial Agents. So we took a lot of inspiration while I was typing this up and making this spreadsheet. I was playing a lot of Dark Tide. So these Ogryn Exactors, this is literally just a new Ogryn kit, but more special forces, less big dumb idiot. And maybe that conflicts with the idea of Ogryn. I don't really care. These guys seem dope.
Maybe big dumb special force.
Yeah.
But no, weapon option for Ogrins. They're such big models. You give them so much personality. Get some mustaches on them, on all of them. They will, in fact, know what the ladies like.
But yeah, legit, though, the Dark Tide Ogryn got to be the best character.
He's so much cool. Everyone else, I'm sorry. He's very ripped.
His drip is really good.
Oh, yeah, he has cool armor. Little bits of armor. I mean, you already have Ogryn armor. That's what Ogryn is just for. But, just have him clearly, stealing bits off Lumen Russes in stolen like a piece of Terminator armor. Battle hardened Ogren would be so cool.
Yeah, maybe veteran Ogren, or they could have this kind of idea where it's more dark Inquisition iconography on it and stuff like that. Give it a different weapon option.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a big fan of adding more melee to these shooting armies to bring them to the light of making them a fun army. Tau's a lot cooler when they have some melee monsters. That's the first time I ever thought Tau was cool, when they have these crew talk shredders that can actually kick a dick in.
We'll get to Tau. I think I've got some good ideas for Tau. One of the cool things they could do with Imperial Agents is really make it a plug-and-play kind of army, where you kind of make individual squads of your own dudes that you can add a preacher, you can add an Ogren exactor, you can add some regular exactors, you can add like the police dudes, you could add a dog, you could do all sorts of stuff and make your own individual data sheets. I don't know how they would do that within the game. Court of Archon kind of does that in Drukhari.
A Deathwatch does that. A Deathwatch is already a part of Agents, essentially. So just do the Deathwatch thing, but do it with everyone else. And man, do Agents need some damage. Canis Rux is their AV. Like, that army cannot kill a vehicle to save their life. So some Ogrens with some good anti-vehicle weapons, they can be expensive, but just have them fill a role, and they'll be sick bottles.
Yeah. All right. This next one is an old favorite of mine. This guy is so 40k.
Oh, I love him.
Him before, but this is awesome.
He was in all my Inquisition lists back in 7th edition. He is such a cool idea. So 40k-ish. Like, just, it's a dreadnought body with just an Inquisitor on it. Oh.
In fact, that's not even an armored control panel. He's just sitting in a chair.
Yeah.
It just goes where he points his sword.
It just works.
It just works. There's no pedals here or anything. How does he move, you might ask? Shut up.
What's under him? It's stuff for the toilet. Who's that one chaos guy that doesn't have clothes on the back? But that's him. Business in the front, nothing in the back.
My servitor is an A+ student in a bumper sticker on the honk for the Emperor.
Baby on board.
There's a cherub.
Yeah, this could be an insane model. Who cares about rules? Like, maybe make it a little bit more functional. What is obviously a guy that's going to get shot in the face as soon as he's on the battlefield.
I love that about it.
I love it too. So they can keep it dumb as well. But I could see them not. I don't want a baby carrier, but clearly have it a force field.
For sure. Maybe, is this guy a psyker?
No, he's just that faithful.
I don't want them to change the model, honestly. I want them to do this exact model. I want them to update it. I don't give a shit. I get what you're saying, where it's like, this guy's just going to literally take a bolter round to the face as soon as he steps onto the battlefield. But that's really funny to me. And this is Orkdom, right? This is really leaning away from the seriousness of 40k.
I want them to make him an absolute melee monster. If he touches something, he kills it instantly in combat.
Keep him as is, but add some robot arms with a sword. But he still has his sword, so he controls the robot sword with his sword. You get no control panels.
No, just his sword is enough. He just cuts Angron in half.
He was really good back when he was legal.
What did he do?
He just was a buff machine, and he was hard to kill. He had a multi-melt to hit combat. Really good's a hard word. I don't know actually how good Inquisition was. 7th edition is a fever dream, but I remember liking him a lot.
Well, he could be like the Inquisition's version of, or like the Imperial Agents version of Triumph.
But I think he'd be more Saint Celestine. Oh wait, no. What's the
Orphan
boss lady and her gun? Yeah, Vol. I want him to be a murder monster. Murder monsters are always much more fun than buff machines, because buff machines are always either overcosted or they're problematic. See Gilliman.
I just can't picture this thing dealing a lot of damage, doing anything other than just shooting at something with a multi-melta.
Make him like Voltron, and each of those guys gets his own. The guy on the right's controlling a sword arm. The guy on the left controlling a gun arm.
A guy in the middle controlling the toilet gun.
Doing absolutely nothing. I don't know. I think he is really, really awesome for all the right reasons. And do it, GW. Don't be cowards. Bring him back. Okay, this final one is just an Interrogator squad. I must admit, I kind of ran out of ideas here, but Interrogator is like a step below an Inquisitor. And so I just picturing like a 5-man squad of like witch hunter garbed guys with a bunch of war gear options. Like I said, a step below Inquisitor. Maybe not as powerful.
I like the guys with space clocks.
Yeah, it could be really interesting again, because there's Imperial Agents, which is kind of, they're not bad, but they're like a step above guards. I want these guys to be a step above Kasrkin. Really elite. 5 of these guys could kill a Marine in lore. Like, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, a battle-hardened Imperial Agent, right?
Yep, with the best tech the Imperium has to offer.
This is the squad that they deploy on the planet, the hive city that's overrun by chaos, to take out the warband of Chaos Marines.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the Death Watch is that or something, but
you don't always have access to a Marine.
Yeah. Someone who's more versed in Imperial Agents probably would have a better idea. These guys would be cool, but let us know in the comments if you have a better idea. All right, moving on here. This is the Adeptus Mechanicus, and of course, we've gone with the Vetus class Siege Automaton. Yes, this is just basically we want them to port the Horus Heresy Siege Automata to 40k.
Give us rules, which we want to buy it. we still just might just sit on the shelf and not play Horus Heresy because Horus Heresy is a pretty bad game, but just put it in a good game.
It's got such sweet models.
It's just going to be all the models. Just give us all the models.
God, look at that gun. So cool.
This is kind of that mid-scale stuff I would like for Knights. I'd like to see in the game more because I do think, other than like one or two, Questoruses are just too big for the game. Some more stuff to this scale would be perfect.
Whenever I look at player numbers and stuff for 40k, people talk about like Gene Sewer cults being a low player count army and stuff like that. I don't think I've ever seen an Adeptus Mechanicus player. Have you?
Admech player?
Yeah.
No, Admech players. Yeah, that's Jeremy's our Eldar player. It was almost me for a little bit. Was quickly priced out and was like, I'm not keep doing this.
That's exactly my point. So one of the biggest problems with AdMech in 40k is it's such a pricey army because A, the models are really expensive. It's a very new range, and you also need a lot of them. What's a great way to solve that problem?
That's their fault. I think AdMech in 8th edition, I think they nailed it. They were priced appropriately, and they just get cheaper and cheaper and made them more like Arden. I don't think they know what to do with AdMech, which is a shame because I think they could be something really unique. But also give them the cool robots from the 30k.
That was the question I asked was, how do you fix that problem? You make them less horde and you give them stuff like this that they can include. This is kind of what you were talking about where I want something in that 200 point range as a Knight player. Give AdMech this for 240 points or whatever. And so if an AdMech player wants to get into the army, they buy 3 of these and they're halfway there.
Yeah, because AdMech has some insane models. I think I really like their tank. I really like the horses and stuff.
Yeah.
It should be more of a vehicle faction. It used to be that, I feel, and it's kind of lost its way.
Well, even when it was a vehicle faction, it was like the Sidonian Dragoons, the Chicken Walkers. And those things are so expensive because you have to pay like $60 for, is it like $60 for one of them?
That's why I'm so in love with Armagers. Like you get 2 for a box, and they're double the points of one of those things. An Armager an Armager box is like a quarter the cost per point.
And why didn't they do that for that? Like
Zero idea.
It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
If it's a $30 kit, it makes sense.
Yeah, if it was half the price, it would make sense. Or if they included 2 in the box, it would make sense. Or if it was 2 for $70. I wouldn't feel bad paying 2 for $70 on that. I mean, I still probably would, honestly. That was in the same era that the Bubble Chukka and the Orc artillery.
Yeah, those are $30 a kit, but like those are literally $1 per model. Yeah. If you're lucky.
Terrible value.
Insanely cool kit, but there should have been 3 of those in a box for like $60.
So anyway, bring these to 40k. This is not the name of this model. Like I think Vetus was a word I just typed in. Ancient, I think is what it means. Ancient class Siege Automata. If you don't want to do this exact model for 40k, you could have an updated version of this.
Yeah, they have their variants with this guy. I think there's 3 different builds of it. There may be coming more builds of it. I cannot follow Horus Heresy, honestly. It's a lot. I just look at the models and I'm jealous.
I look at the models, yeah.
Okay, another kit that I think is playable in Horus Heresy, but this one is Secretary Hoplights.
It could be interesting, just as another battle line option to do anything. Generally, AdMech they have a damage problem, and their melee is really lacking. So I don't really care if they're not durable or fast. Just something that can come out and kill some elite infantry would be really interesting.
I do like the big attached shields on the models on the left. I think that is a super sweet look.
Maybe combine those with this.
Mm-hmm.
Or they could do Gundam Thunderbolt where they have arms that control the shields. And then they
oh my god, yes.
And then it would look like they can actually wield these 2-handed weapons.
That would be so cool.
Again, 40k, you do it already. Just steal the ideas.
So like the backpack, like how their arm is coming out, but attach like a bunch of shields to them and have 4 of those.
Yeah, 2 shields. Yep.
That'd be so cool. Make them a little more durable and then also make them hit a little harder, but cost a little bit more. Maybe put them on like 32 mil bases. Have them be a little bit bigger.
That's kind of the issue where like AdMech's melee is kind of just their scrimmage units and just something that is actually looks like it's supposed to be tanky. Something that actually looks like it does melee damage.
All right. This one I got from Reddit. So this is the Arco Grenaders. It's literally just a Napoleonic era inspired grenadier, but AdMech, and they throw Arcto bombs with gyro enhanced arms.
Like the one guy's just with a gun.
Yeah. I don't know. Too silly, guys? What do you think?
Yeah, put it on the B side.
I don't know. These guys standing in the back on the back objective, chucking grenades 32 inches across the board would be pretty funny.
They definitely have, you can use a grenade set for free.
Yeah, absolutely.
They each have a bomb squid core weapon. If they roll one, they die. So
Have a robot playing a bagpipe behind them for motivation.
You could have two of them, and then one of them is just a trebuchet robot. Load me up, fellas, and he just like he gets off on launching the bombs.
Yeah, they get that sweet endorphins.
He's like, oh yeah, oh launch me, guys, launch me. They're like really slightly uncomfortable about launching him. Your matrix is going haywire. I don't know. I think 40 mil bases and then like big buff dudes is like one way to go with this, or just like dudes like this. But just something I saw on Reddit that I thought was kind of neat.
We're talking about buff dudes. We really could get like, I would like to see like AdMech reject Marines, like Iron Hands, like, they didn't make it. Do you need some almost Marines? They're like, yes. And just make them kind of these berserker-esque melee murder machine, something like that to like make because again, they don't really have automata. So if they could Ogren or more AdMech-y and stuff like that, they have to use human parts to do it.
Yeah, I think originally I had Ogren Servitors on here before I put these guys on. Like Ogren Servitors are kind of that, right? Where they are just like big buff Ogren that have been turned into machines for one reason or another.
And they have those priests that are kind of dumb, like Jazz Hand Priests and like the Staff Priests. Make Ogrins, those guys. Blue, and they have a bunch of wires. Like those guys could be insane.
Yeah, that'd be really cool, actually, yeah. Let's move on to the Adeptus Custodes. I'm not sure how Custodes players are going to react to this one. I kind of went a little bit away from the traditional custodianism. And I think the big thing with Custodes, like the obvious thing to do with Custodes, is take every single unit they have in Forge World, make them plastic. That's obviously the thing they should do first.
But then,
Draft. Yeah, there's this unit from the Horus Heresy books called the Lucifer Blacks, and they're hyper elite guard, and they are the guard regiments that guard the Imperial Palace, and I believe they're stationed on the ramparts now, and they're often contracted as bodyguards for rogue traders and stuff, and I just think this would be a perfect avenue for them to pursue the Doom theme for like the Sardaukar, kind of like a mix between ODST drop troopers and this and the Sardaukar. Make them the Custodes for the guard, if that makes sense.
Just more cool dudes with guns. Always that'd be a cool option. And I think sisters are interesting, but it doesn't feel like they should be the chaff of Custodes. That feels weird.
Yeah, they're also hyper elite.
Yeah, they're like 1 in a million, and I'm using them to block out Deep Strike and then die horribly to some commandos.
Custodes players, this was a faction I struggled with. I'm going to be honest. Get in the comments. Let us know what you'd like to see as a Custodes unit.
I do think Custodes kind of are always mishandled in lore. Like, they don't get their power levels right most of the time. They can never be what they are, which is the actual top of the top.
And, you know, if your idea is the custodian, don't leave that as a comment. Matt?
Give him like a chain broom, and then he sweeps up the floors. Someone's got to keep the palace clean.
Yeah, one of the gene-enhanced soldiers has to keep the palace clean. We don't have servitors for that.
You wouldn't trust him with it.
No.
Never forget the Custodes.
Oh yeah, the Custodes, that was another good one. They watch.
Always watching.
They are the watchers on the wall.
They're the watchers inside the wall.
Oh no, he's banging my wife again. Not again.
If their emperor wills it.
Yeah, none of that though. So this next one is kind of one that I think I got this from Reddit too. This is the Venitari Captain. Once you've made the Venitari plastic, give him a captain.
That makes a lot of sense. That's a very cool unit.
Not this though. This is the best Dolly could do with my description. Do this, not this.
Custodes really need characters that kind of... Well, not really. They kind of just add, because the character's only at the cost of like 2 Custodes. They don't hit a whole lot harder, but they usually add just a little bit extra. So Venitari can kind of have problems killing a bigger unit. So it'd be nice to just have a captain kind of help finish the job.
They're tough. They have a really good line, and it's like they're a very limited concept. Unless you completely reinvent entirely new things. They're gold Space Marines. And I do love such a... They're sweet.
They have such a good Forge World line. It has to get ported over. Every one of those models can come over pretty happily. Save like the Guardian with a different weapon guys. We don't need those. Or the Terminator with a different weapon.
I do think that's like a good reason why like Lucifer Blacks are a cool idea. It's another allied, regiment they can have. It adds to them like the Sisters of Silence do. So I think like Lucifer Blacks would be sweet.
This next one I think is a better option for them. the Karen Pattern Acquisitor, not the one on the right. I put this in here as a as a joke because this is the best doll he could give me.
Oh, it's a Scooty Puff Omega.
I don't know why I thought this was a good idea.
Kill me now. End my suffering.
Please blow me up with anti-tank. This thing is dope. This reminds me a lot of Dune. These close and open, and I don't know how that works. Like if that actually functions on the model or you have to like glue these on, but this closed is a really cool silhouette. And this is a Sisters of Silence transport. So if they did this, a Sisters of Silence transport for the range, I think that'd be really cool. Maybe they don't want to lean into that part of the range as much as they do with this model.
I think it's an insane model. I like it a lot.
And hear me out. You take that twirly part in the middle, open it up.
Yeah, no, don't do any of that. I think I'm just going to cut all that out.
No, so this is how GW can make their money. They got to diversify.
So they could do a lot beyond just this thing, right? They could have unique vehicles. They already have unique tanks for Custodies if they just redo those in plastic. But you know how they have the Venerable Rhinos and stuff like that? They could do what they did for Space Marines with the repulsors and all that different stuff. They could do that for Custodies, and they could have unique Custodies tanks. So we talk about how they can expand the line in the future. One of the ways they could do that is in the vehicle way. And they can make Palace Gravitax, they can make all these different things and add variation to them, make them different, do different stuff with the vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. We made it through the Imperium of Man for units we want to see. If there's anything we missed, get down in those comments. Let us know what you guys want to see.
So like the video if you want to see the Custodies, and be sure to subscribe if you want to see the Custodies Custodian.
Oh my god. Well, anyway, thanks for watching / listening to Armies on Parade. This has been another episode. For real though, if you like our content, like, subscribe, get in those comments, let us know what you want to see, and yeah, we'll catch you in the next one.